Who is ready for some spring cleaning? Hey everyone, my name is Jennifer Wilson and I am your guide at Simple Scrapper. Welcome to the Great Stash Bash. In this video, I'm going to share 3 strategies for corralling those little small embellishments that tend to get away from us. We'll talk about both decluttering those items to make sure you have only the ones you love and some of my best strategies for keeping them organized and under control. Let's get started. Small embellishments can be some of the most frustrating scrapbook supplies to organize because they're tiny, you have so many of different kinds, and you want them easily accessible, yet you also want them corralled and grouped together so that you can find what you need and they're not just all over the place. In this video, I'm sharing 3 different ways that I organize my small embellishments. I'm starting with probably my least favorite. All these solutions I really like, but I'm going to go in order from least favorite to most favorite. So first we have here are these glassine bags. These came with some kit clubs that I subscribe to. So oftentimes you'll get one type of embellishment in one of these bags, and oftentimes it's this type of kind of crinkly packaging. I know I'm familiar with this type of packaging from when my dad was a stamp collector. He always had tons of these, and I would beg him to let me use them as a kid. So what I do is I cut off the top of it so there's no adhesive, no flaps or anything, and make these little tiny pouches to hold small embellishments. This one is a little thing of chipboard. We've got a little grouping here of some wood veneers. I have a lot of like cork and acrylic pieces in this one that are a little bit larger. This one has some more die cuts, some of these rubber pieces. And then down in front, I've got this little one that's empty for something in the future. And then I have some other small embellishments in their original packaging. But I have these little sacks. Here's another one from Brad's, kind of stashed throughout my scrapbook supplies. This happens to be where I keep a lot of my supplies for my Allie Edwards story kits. But I love this as just a handy way to keep them contained, yet keep them accessible without having to be over-organized. You'll see throughout my solutions, I really try not to be over-organized. You'll see that I don't organize by color, and I tend to not even organized by type of supply or shape or theme or anything like that. I'm just trying to keep things corralled so they're easy to browse through. That's kind of my approach overall to small embellishments. All right, next we have the bead box method of storage for small embellishments. And I first purchased this container when I was trying to figure out an option for storing all of my sequins and my wood veneers. A couple years ago, these were super popular and I seemed to be amassing a lot of them. And that's when I decided I needed something that had these containers. I actually went through the craft store testing them out because there's lots of different types of boxes like these, but it was the ones in the bead section that really had these dividers that go all the way up to the top, as well as grooves here in the top so that they do seal super tight, because I didn't want things getting mixed up if it happened to jostle around a little bit. I noticed there were similar containers in other parts of the craft store, but they did not have that feature. So you want to make sure you're looking for one that goes all the way up for your storing your really, really tiny embellishments. So I mentioned that I wanted to talk a little bit about decluttering when it comes to these small embellishments. And I try to always kind of leave space for myself so that there's always a place to put new types of supplies as they're coming in. You can see now this is pretty full. So a couple things that I've been doing is I've been trying to kind of group some things together, like these particular asterisks, these little stars, the rounded ones can probably go in with the heart-shaped ones, hard-edged ones. I also probably could kind of destash some of these. There's no way I'm ever going to be used that many stars or that many hearts. But it's hard to let go, for sure. I totally get that. But I do want to keep some space for myself. So for example, I know this collection of little die cut pieces here, I could definitely get rid of these. These have been in here for a long time. I have never touched this grouping. I'm not even really sure I would consider this belonging in this particular box anyway. And so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those just because I know that I haven't touched them in a long time. And this gives me space for something new. So let's say here, for example, I have these rubber pieces, and you saw some in my glassine bags as well. So I would really love to have a place to keep my small rubber pieces. These are more on trend these days, and now they have a home inside of my bead box storage solution. All right, finally, I want to talk about one of my favorite storage solutions for small embellishments, and in this case, it's my die cuts and some of my chipboard pieces. And it's not the sexiest or most elegant solution, and it's in some ways a little bit awkward, but it's probably my most used and perhaps the most popular of ones that I have shared in the past. This is a binder meant for storage of embroidery floss. I got this at Hobby Lobby, and it's the Yarnology brand. And it includes these two covers with these large rings and then these tiny Ziploc baggies that you put in between. I think I have two sets of those here. And I have all of my little die cut word art pieces, vellum pieces, anything that's a little small collection I have here in an individual baggie. You can see they have even labels here if you wanted to write down the manufacturer. I haven't done that, but you certainly could, especially if you have to keep track of credits for your supplies. So I have them here typically by collection, but sometimes if I see something that's like similar, I'll put them together. And I just absolutely love this. It has been so handy to be able to just flip through and say, okay, what am I looking for? I'm looking for labels. I'm looking for, something interesting and unique. I'm looking for a kind of soft edge floral die cut piece to stick underneath on a layout, which is what I'm often looking for. So that's definitely a go-to package. I'm looking for like an acetate type of piece. So in terms of decluttering, my goal here is for this never to be totally full. As I mentioned in the previous section, I always want to have a little bit of room to grow. And so there's a couple different groupings here that I could probably let go of. I know this selection of die cut pieces I haven't touched in a really long time, so that could probably go. Same for these kind of stamp type ones. These are a little bit older and I haven't really reached for them in a while. Whereas this grouping I go into all the time. As I get here towards the end, these are some of my newer ones. This is a Chamel collection here. And I believe this one is Chamel as well. And so I love these newer ones, and this is where I reach the most. So it's probably time to get rid of some of the other ones so that I have even more space to grow. I have maybe 5 or 6 baggies left. And again, this has just been the most handy storage solution. These are easily accessible, but ultimately so portable. If I was going to go to a crop, I would just take this whole thing with me. Or if I was really needing to be portable, like maybe I was traveling somewhere and needed to travel light, I could take out the individual baggie and everything is all together. And when I just need to grab my supply, I just pull it out of the baggie. Now, one of the questions that I've had before is, well, I have so many embellishments that I could fill up multiples of these books. And so in those cases, I have 2 recommendations. One is to think about, okay, maybe you do need some sort of division between, say, chipboard and die cuts, or word art and graphic embellishments. Or maybe you have 3 different types of categories. So you may need some sort of division that way. But again, I tend to not recommend over-organizing because that just adds more work for you. And then the second thing to think about is that if you really have more than this, do you really need that many? What are the collections, like I mentioned these, that you turn to again and again because you're excited about them and you love using them? Put all of those in one little binder here and then put the rest aside and see if you ever go to them. If you don't, maybe it's time to let them go. But in the meantime, you have this binder full of supplies you know you love and you can reach to again and again when you want to create quickly and easily. Your challenge is to find a new and improved storage solution for one single category of your small embellishments. Before you go, make sure to enter our giveaway for a seat in Refresh. Refresh is our 7-day online scrapbooking retreat designed to help you start fresh in memory keeping each and every season. The next session is coming up in April. To win a seat, simply leave a comment on this video sharing your progress in using up, decluttering, or organizing your stash of scrapbook supplies. You may optionally include a link to a blog post, Instagram post, or YouTube video where you're sharing this progress with others. You must be registered for the Great Stash Bash to be eligible. Please check the description box for the registration link and the deadline to enter the giveaway.